What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to Blue Eyes White Dragon post-ban list. And the best thing about this is it does not involve the Horus engine at all. It is pretty much pure Blue Eyes, but it has a very cool combo that I'll show you at the end of the video as well, which gives you loads of different types of interaction with your opponent and then can lead you into a Chaos Max OTK as well. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Massive shout out to Joe who brought the combo to my attention. Back and forth we adapted it and we adapted this list and it works incredibly well. So we're going to start off with, of course, the best dragon monster in the game, and that is Blue Eyes White Dragon. The legendary dragon is a powerful engine of destruction, virtually invincible, with very few have faced this awesome creature and lived to tell the tale. I absolutely love this artwork as well. I love the pastel look on it and how it's kind of like so dark and space, and it's just so good. So free Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then of course we do play free Dictator of D. So this is one of the most important cards. So it's Dictator of D and Sage of Visor Blue, which is your 2-card combo to pretty much get everything going, and you'll see that at the end of the video. Now, the idea is that Dictator of D is basically the Magician's Souls for this deck because it can send a Blue Eyes from deck to grave as cost, which is really nice, and then it can send a Blue Eyes White Dragon or a card that specifically mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from the hand to the graveyard to summon back Blue Eyes, which is really, really important, and it's why you do need to utilize the White Stone of Legend. How do you get to the White Stone of Legend? Well, that's where Sage with Eyes of Blue come in, because Sage with Eyes of Blue can search you out your White Stone of Legend. It can also search you out your White Stone of Ancients, but more times than not, you actually want to be summoning your White Stone of Ancients from the deck off of the back of Heavenly Spheres, because you want it in the graveyard so that you can then search out your Blue Eyes Chaos Max. And the final target that Sage of Eyes of Blue can search you is an Effect Veiler, which is quite nice to be able to search a nice targeting negate. Then the final Blue Eyes monsters, we do play the one Jet Dragon. You don't have to play Jet Dragon, but it just gives you another option should you already open up Blue Eyes Chaos Max to either search out Jet Dragon or, of course, summon Jet Dragon off of the back of White Stone of Ancients. The one you're probably going to want to summon more times than not if you don't have access to Chaos Max or Chaos Form is, of course, going to be your Abyss Dragon, because during the end phase, White Stone of Ancients will summon Abyss Dragon. Abyss Dragon, when it is special summoned, will let you add a Ritual Spell or Polymerization, so you get to add your Chaos Form, and then during the end phase, you get to add a Ritual Monster from the deck to the hand, and that's how you're going to get your Blue Eyes Chaos Max, and by this point, you'll already have Blue Eyes in the graveyard or in the hand. The final Blue Eyes monster that we play is, of course, Alternative. I don't play Melody the Awakening Dragon just because it's kind of like Signet Mining, and what I mean by that is you discard a card, and if you're not going to get advantage off of the back of that discard, which the only 2 targets you're going to gain maximum advantage off the back of will be a White Stone of Ancients or, of course, a White Stone of Legend, it's not really worth it. Like if they stop it, it pretty much leads to a massive hand neg. Whereas that's where we're playing other cards to kind of protect the plays we need to make and directly get to exactly what we need, which is why we're only playing the one Alternative. Again, it's another one that you'll get to eventually down the road if you want it. If you want to make it more consistent, then of course you can put Melody in, or of course you can play it free, but then you're kind of running the risk of clogging on it. The last dragon monster that we play in the main deck that isn't a hand trap is World Chalice Guard Dragon. Well, technically, World Chalice Guard Dragon is a hand trap. So when a card or effect is activated that targets your linked monster, quick event, you can send this card from the hand or field to the graveyard and negate the activation. So technically, it is a hand trap. But this card has so much utility thanks to the return of course, Ib, the World Chalice Justicar. Now, in the combo, you'll see exactly how we utilize this card, but on top of that, what you also need to remember is it has the ability to banish it from the graveyard to target a normal monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense to a zone a link monster points to. So it lets you revive Blue Eyes, which is quite nice. The other good thing about this deck, because you have loads of space, is you can actually run a lot of hand traps. So it kind of makes it very competitive with a lot of crack back options, and just being able to add to your normal end board of 3 to 4 interruptions leading to an OTK, you can also add your hand traps to that combo as well. So we've got triple Ash Blossom, I've gone with double Nibiru, we've gone with a small Bestial package, so the one Magnamute and the Droid Swarm, because this is also another target that you can summon off your Heavenly Spheres, so it's entirely up to you, and it's just a generically really good dragon engine. And then the final one, of course, is Infinite Impermanence. How do you then combat the hand traps that your opponent is playing? Well, we are playing the one Call by the Grave, and we are also playing the one Instant Fusion, because Instant Fusion will allow you to bring out a Millennium Eyes Restrict, which will allow you to pretty much protect yourself from Drolls or Ashes should you need to, and then you can turn the Millennium Eyes Restrict as forms of material into one of your Link monsters, or into something defensive like a Link Karibo. Carrying on with the generic spells, so because Sage of Visor Blue is so important, you want to play as many copies as you can in the deck. We've maxed out on 3 copies of itself. We then go with 3 Peri-Rizimap. Now, the way I looked at it is, yes, you could play a card like Small World, you could play Where Art Thou, you could play 1-for-1, but it all required you to have another card in order to get to your Sage of Visor Blue. So the best card for this deck will, of course, be Peri-Rizimap. Yes, it does cost you half your life points, and it does have to be used as the first card of your main phase, but just being able to directly out-search you a Sage of Visor Blue is really, really good. The other downside is, unless you have Called by the Grave in the hand, if you do activate Peri-Rizimap, search out your Sage of Visor Blue, and they do decide to draw you, you can't protect it because you won't be able to get instant fusion to the board in order to get you Millenniumized. So keep that in mind, it's risk and reward, but we're trying to go for as much consistency to get to our combo pieces as possible, which is why we're also playing triple pot of Prosperity. Now, there are some very important cards in the extra deck, but then you do have a lot of flex space left over, so that then can become cards of your choosing, or of course, it just come very easy banish fodder off of the back of Prosperity. So you wanted to kind of max out with your consistency, like I said, to get to the combo. It's not just a one combo and done, it still can do normal Blue Eyes plays, going into rank 8 turbos, board clears, non-target sends, you name it, but you obviously want to be focusing on trying to complete the combo, because the combo will lead you into more interactions. The last spell card we play is, of course, the World Legacy Guard Dragon, because this can be set or searched off of the back of the Ib, the World Chalice, and it basically acts like a Monster Reborn. Then moving on to the track cards, we are playing 2 of the True Light. You can play this at 3 if you want to, but this one is basically Eternal Soul for Blue Eyes. So your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragon specifically in your monster zone with card effects, and if this face-up card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you do have to destroy all monsters you control. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn, and you can only activate one of them. So you can either special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the hand or graveyard, or you can set one spell or trap directly from the deck that specifically mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon. So the card we're going to be going for is, of course, the Ultimate Creature of Destruction. Really cool trap card for the deck. So you target a Blue Eyes monster you control. This turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by card effects except its own, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, any opponent's monster it battles is destroyed at the end of the damage step. So you can basically just wall up and then your opponent can't get past it. While this card is in the graveyard, if you normal or special a Blue Eyes White Dragon specifically, you get to set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use the effect of Ultimate Creature of Destruction once per turn. So it basically means that if you do reset it, you can't then activate it again the exact same turn. You do have to wait the next turn. But it's just kind of like a small mini option. If you wanted to play more hand traps, like you wanted to put Droll in here or anything else like that, there are flex spaces should you choose to. They can play stuff like Droplets. You've got more board breakers. You can play more consistency cards. Like I said, you've got options of stuff like Small World. It's entirely up to you. You do have a nice little bit of flex, which is really, really kind of cool. Then moving on to the extra deck. So of course, for the extra deck, we are going to be going for the Synchro monsters of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon and Azure Eyes. You don't have to play either of these if you don't want to. If you wanted to go a little bit more aggressive, you can swap in a Typhoon and you can swap in a Relinquish Anima. The idea is Blue Eye Spirit is obviously ideal. It's probably the only level 9 synchro you really want to make if you're trying to keep them on a minimum. And then Azure Eyes is just an option that can be summoned off the back of the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. So if you want to, you can play any light dragon synchro. It doesn't need to be Azure Eyes. And then the last synchro, of course, is the newly returned Ib, the World Chalice Justicar. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is, it's a generic Link 5, a generic Synchro 5. And if it is Synchro summoned, you can treat a World Chalice normal monster you control as a tuner, but obviously we don't play the World Chalice cards in this deck, so you don't need to worry about that part. If it is Synchro summoned, you get to add a World Legacy card from the deck to the hand, so that's how you get the World Legacy Guard Dragon, technically Monster Reborn spell. And then if this Synchro Summon card is sent from the field to the graveyard by any means, you get to special summon one World Chalice monster from the deck or graveyard. So that's how you're going to get into your little Guard Dragon, because then you're going to be able to have an additional dragon on the board and link climb and do everything else you need to. For the, obviously, Fusion, so one Millenniumize Restrict. We don't play any of the other Fusion monsters, but you can do should you wish. For the rank 8s, we're pretty much covering all the bases on this one. So we've got the one Dingirsu for a non-target send and destruction protection. So the idea is against Fire Kings, you just send their Fire King Island and nuke their entire board. We've got the one Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. Will become cheaper when it gets reprinted, but for now it's just there for a monster negate. We've got our spell negate in the form of number 38, and then we've got our board wipe in the form of the Grunix Eternity. So you can flex these up, change them around as you see fit. Like I've shown you already, you've got two different options with Typhoon and Relinquish Anima should you want to. For the Link monsters, of course, we've got the one Link Karibo, we've got the one Guard Dragon Pitsy, We've got the 1 Striker Dragon. Now this is mainly in here for a combo. You do need to move it around and you'll see that at the end. But the idea is that you need Striker Dragon to open your upper zone so you can then get Hieratic Seals into the extra monster zone. We're then also playing the Geonator Transverser. This is how you can give your opponent and guarantee to give them a 0 defense monster that you can then crash into with Chaos Max for an 8k OTK. The idea is that when you activate Hieratic Seals, you need to summon your monster, which will become 0/0 to either this zone here, if you're going to put Geo Transverser on this side of the board, or you put it on this side of the board and you summon the monster in the center. The idea is, as long as this is pointing towards one of your opponent's monsters, that's the tricky part, you can then swap those monsters over, make Chaos Max, and then swing for an OTK. So once you do that to someone the first time, they will try and play around it if they remember to do so. But keep in mind, it's just one of them little cheeky bits that if people don't and forget about it and they're trying to play around a Link Anima or anything else, you can then utilize it to its max potential, and that's how you're going to lead into an OTK. We've then got the 1 IP Masquerena, and then we do have the 1 SP Little Knight. And if you don't have access to SP Little Knight, you can go for something like a Nightmare Unicorn or a Crusadia Avramax if you want to. The idea is that we're just trying to make this as competitive as possible, so you do need to play possibly one of the most broken Link cards ever made in the form of SP Little Knight. It's just absolutely insane that it gives you a banish on summon more times than not, because you will be using IP to make it. You don't care about the protection effect of IP because when you banish SP from the board, it will come back refreshed. But the idea is it's basically leading you to 2 banishes for your first turn you make it, and then a second banish from that point on. And even if you don't complete the Chaos Max OTK just through Chaos Max's 1 attack, your board will still lead you into the ability of a rank 8 with SP Little Knight floating back to the board. So you're in a very, very good and very, very strong position. So that's it for the entire main deck and the extra deck. In regards to side decks for decks like this, it really does come down to your local environment. I pretty much use a similar side deck for all of my builds. So you're looking at like board wipes, you're looking at stuff like Evenlies, Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storms, stuff like that. Any floodgates that you could play if you wanted to, like Anti-Spell Fragrance. And again, really comes down to your local environment. But with that out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to show you the 2-card combo that gets this deck ticking. The 2-card combo will specifically require Dictator of D and Sage with Eyes of Blue, but as mentioned in the profile, we are technically playing 6 copies of Sage by playing the Piri-Rizzi map, and then of course you also have Pot of Prosperity to help increase your consistency to activate and resolve this combo. So we're going to start off by normal summoning Sage, and this will allow us to search out the Stone of Legend. You'll then activate Dictator of D's effect by sending a Blue Eyes from deck to grave as cost to summon itself down. Then use the secondary effect of Dictator to send the White Stone of Legend to revive the Blue Eyes from the grave. In doing so, you'll be able to trigger the White Stone of Legend effect to search out your second copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon. You will then Synchro Summon using Sage and Dictator to make the newly returned Ib. Off of Ib, you'll be able to search out your World Legacy Guard Dragon. Activate the World Legacy Guard Dragon to bring back the White Stone of Legend. Then link off the White Stone of Legend into your Striker Dragon, triggering the White Stone Legend's effect again, and search out your third and final copy of Blue Eyes. Now obviously if you open up any Blue Eyes, then you don't need to use the search effect of White Stone of Legend at this particular point. You'll then use World Legacy Guard Dragon to move one of your Dragon monsters to another one of your main monster zones, and you specifically want it to go to the middle zone here. Then what you'll do is you'll link off Blue Eyes and Ib, going into IP Masquerena, again going into the zone that Striker points to, not the extra monster zone. You want this free for your spheres. This will now trigger Ib's effect to special summon out your World Chalice Guard Dragon. You will then link off your World Chalice Guard Dragon and Striker Dragon to go into your Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. You can now choose to, if you want to, use the World Chalice Guard Dragon's effect to banish it from the graveyard to revive back Blue Eyes to a zone that Heavenly Spheres points to. That is entirely up to you. You don't need to, it just gives you another monster on the board that can be defensive, but you can also hold back the Guard Dragon that should you make a Link monster during the next turn, you then have a way of bringing a Blue Eyes back and hopefully moving into a OTK or a board breaking position. So completely up to you. We'll do it so we summon it back to you, just so you can see the max capacity of this combo. You pass to your opponent. During your opponent's turn, when you activate the Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, the card you're going to want to summon is your White Stone of Ancients. You could also, previously before we ended the turn, turn your Blue Eyes into a Link Spider so that you had another effect monster on the board, so that you could go IP Masquerena with the Blue Eyes into an SP Little Knight. But again, I'm going to leave the Blue Eyes on the board so I can show you the rank 8 crackback for an OTK push the next turn. Another option you can also summon off the White Stone of Ancients is your Bestial Magnamute, and this will only be the option if you've already opened up Chaos Form, so you can search out your Blue Eyes Chaos Max off the back of your Magnamute. At this exact position here, you're going to activate IP Masquerena's effect. You're going to link summon the White Stone of Ancients and IP to go into SP Little Knight. This, of course, will trigger SP Little Knight's ability to banish on the field, and then when your opponent activates a monster effect or any kind of card effect, you'll then activate SP Little Knight to banish itself and that other monster. So what you've ended up doing is you've had a bounce with Spheres, you've then had a 2 banishes off of SP Little Knight. As we move to the end phase, we'll be able to trigger the White Stone of Ancients effect to special summon out Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. This will then allow you to trigger the Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon effect to search you out Chaos Form, and then move to the end phase to then search you out a Blue Eyes Chaos Max. So as you can see, we're then going to draw a 1 card for turn. We still have a complete hand of 5. I'm just going to move the World Legacy Guard Dragon out of the way. Not to mention we would have had 3 additional cards that we would have started with as well. But what you can definitely guarantee here is if you need to board clear, not to mention SP will be coming back. If you feel you need to board clear at this particular position, you do have the ability to make a rank 8 of Garunix. If you feel there is a monster effect you want to negate, you can go into Photon Lord, and then of course you can also go into Ding. So you've got 3 different options there, and then ultimately what you'll be doing is if you do detach the Blue Eyes here, you can banish the Blue Eyes from the graveyard. Otherwise you can activate your Chaos Form very easily, tributing a Blue Eyes from the hand, summoning down Blue Eyes Chaos Max, and now you're in a very good position to complete the OTK. There are ways that if you do turn the Blue Eyes into a Link Spider, during your opponent's turn, what you can do is leave the White Stone of Ancients on the board if you've had a way to get to Chaos Max already, and you can actually give the White Stone of Legend to your opponent and then crash through the White Stone of Legend as it will be 0/0 because it was summoned off of the Heavenly Spheres as well. So that's it for the combo. Like I showed you, it kind of does have a nice kind of state because it gives you 3 forms of interruption, not including any hand traps that you may have in your remaining 3 cards. And then on top of that, it leads you into your strongest boss monster from the main deck, and then also the ability to make a rank 8 should you need to clear more of the board off, negate a monster effect, or of course just non-target send. You'll also still have an SP Little Knight floating back around for you as well. So whatever monster you bring back off of the SP Little Knight, that's when you can then make Ding just to send it, clear it out of the way, and then straight away you've got the ability to push in for a final OTK of 8,200. So you're completely clear with everything you need to do. Anyway, that was it for the Blue Eyes build. I thought it would be something a little bit different than Horus. As I said at the start of the video, massive shout out to Joe for bringing this combo to my attention. I thought it was like a great little combo, which was really nice to kind of take into account, especially with those of you that don't want to play the Horus engine. I think this is a really kind of cool way to keep Blue Eyes relatively pure. You don't need to be using SP Little Knight, it just gives you the maximum form of interruption. It can be something a little bit more budget like Nightmare Unicorn or Crusadia Avramax, as also mentioned in the profile. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.